This was a terrible idea, which is exactly why we made it. Watch closely.
If you're looking for quality dental care and not sex, call the offices of Dr. Rice to schedule an appointment. Dr. Rice assures you professional treatment is the new standard and not sex. So now when Dr. Rice says he'll fill your cavity, he's talking about your teeth. When Dr. Rice says he's going to drill you, he's referring to your cavity. When Dr. Rice says you'll feel a little prick, he's talking about an injection. And when Dr. Rice says you've got the whitest teeth he's ever come across, well, who can be sure? We're new at this no sex stuff. Schedule an appointment today. If you discover Dr. Rice has had sex with you while sedated, we'll take up to 20% off. Dr. Rice, quality dental care and no sex.
This is the Cary Harrison Files. And it is the Cary Harrison Files, CaryHarrison.com, live streaming video right now on Substack and YouTube. Simply Google or search or use AI for Cary Harrison YouTube or Substack. And don't forget to get our newsletter where we're going to have a lot more stuff, including some of my favorite parody spots. And that's at CaryHarrison.com. Okay. Polish sausage, I mentioned earlier. Renee, our fabulous directress, is Polish. She's like, Polish sausage. Chicago, it's everything. It's either Vienna beef, which is kosher and pure, or Polish sausage. That's it. There's no such thing as a hot dog. It might be called a hot dog at Wrigley Field, but it's a Polish. You get a Polish, and you get a bratwurst or a brat, and you barbecue it, and you boil it in beer first, and then you throw it on a grill. And the heat from the charcoal causes the brat to split in the middle. It gets brown and crunchy on the side, and you put in some hot mustard right down the middle. Yep, right down there. Toss on, with a little fork, little sauerkraut and a sesame seed bun. You can't have a hot dog bun without poppy seeds. Poppy seeds, or you could do sesame, but poppy is better, and then you eat it, and you have like two bites during the game. Because if you have 3 bites, you might miss the pitch, and the Cubs could win like they do every 100 years. So, poppies, yes, exactly. Okay, back to the seriousness of it all. Oh my God, this next one is going to light the lines. This is the call-in segment, and I want to hear what you think of it. We're going to talk about Alex Karp, Karp with a K, as opposed to Karp with a C, like the ugly, slimy, gray fish, but Karp with a K. He's the CEO of Palantir Technologies. Remember? The largest government surveillance software humankind has ever known. And it is active right now. This government has installed it. Why? Because this government is all technocrats. And that's the plot of the play, to reduce live humans in this entire hemisphere from Greenland. Ooh, what a coincidence, all the way down to the South Pole, and have a technocracy. So Mr. Alex Karp, CEO of Palantir Technologies, the largest government surveillance software humankind has ever known, which is Skynet, if you remember Terminator. It's growing. We've talked about this guy before, a ponytailed philosopher warrior, a neurodivergent Ubermensch in a tailored blazer who speaks in complete sentences that sound like they were translated from the original Nietzsche by a malfunctioning ChatGPT running on jet fuel and grievance. He's a man who looks exactly like what would happen if a mad scientist crossed Ernest Borgnine with a pigeon, then gave it a $350 billion market cap and told it to fix democracy from the outside. Alex Karp wants your children to go to war. He's very passionate about this. He's published a whole book about it. It's called The Technological Republic, which is the kind of title that tells you immediately this guy's never had to parallel park. He's never had to do his own laundry. He's never had to explain to a draft board why his knees don't work or why he might have, what do we want to say? Bone spurs. Okay, it's not funny.
Bing, boom.
He and his co-author slapped together a 22-point manifesto, dropped it on X, formerly known as Twitter. We always have to say that, don't we? X, formerly known as Twitter, because X just doesn't seem to, what a bad brand. It just means nothing unless you say formerly known as Twitter. Dropped it just not even a week ago, like a flaming bag of dog poop on the nation's doorstep. And among those 22 radiant points of visionary insight was a crystal clear call: universal national service, a draft, the whole deal. Everyone goes, everyone shares the risk. Everyone, that is, except Palantir Technologies, which paid exactly $0, none, zip, goose egg, the big donut, not a thin dime in federal income taxes in 2025, despite reporting a cool $1.5 billion in U.S. income. They paid $0. How did they do that? Well, you need to write this down in your Post-it note and use it yourself. They used a provision in something actually, genuinely, sincerely called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Imagine grown-ups actually calling something like that 10 years ago. It just never, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which sounds like the title of a Schoolhouse Rock episode written by a defense contractor. There is something in there, a loophole, that allows them to deduct their research expenses down to approximately nothing.
Bing, boom.
So your kids can share in the risk and the cost, and Palantir will share in the profits. That's the deal. That's the manifesto. Now, does this seem fair to you? Because Alex Karp has a ponytail and a philosophy degree, and he thinks it's extremely fair. Now, let's just pause here and acknowledge the sheer, almost supernatural audacity of all of this. Because what we're witnessing is a $350 billion company which holds a $10 billion contract with the U.S. Army, by the way, meaning it's basically got the Pentagon on a retainer, like a very well-armed family lawyer, publicly agitating for a military draft while simultaneously not paying the taxes that would, fund said military. That's like a fire hose manufacturer burning your house down and then selling you the hose on credit. That's not a business model. That's a hostage situation with better branding. And it gets better because it doesn't stop there. Palantir's platforms also power something called Project Maven, which is the Pentagon's AI-driven targeting and surveillance program. And Project Maven has reportedly been used to help generate targeting lists for the Israeli military in Gaza. So when Mr. Karp told an earnings call that Palantir's mission was to, let me quote here, scare enemies and on occasion kill them, he wasn't doing a bit. This wasn't a zinger. He wasn't worshiping material from the Aspen Ideas Festival open mic. He meant it like a business objective, delivered with all the casual serenity of a man ordering a medium drip coffee and a side of geopolitical consequence. So this brings us to the absolutely exquisite timing of all of this. And this is where I want to hear from you. Palantir dropped their little draft manifesto during week 7 of U.S. military involvement in Iran. Week 7. The Selective Service, meanwhile, is already moving toward automatic registration of all eligible men ages 18 to 26, set to kick in December 18th of this year. Excuse me. Why, look, pollen in the air. It's hard to be a live human, isn't it? December 18th, 2026. That means the government's literally building the intake funnel right now, while Palantir simultaneously is standing outside the funnel with a megaphone yelling, "Fill her up." The infrastructure for mass conscription is assembling itself like a transformer that nobody asked for. And the company with the AI targeting contracts is cheerleading from the sideline, tax-free.
Listen, were you forced into getting a solar contract and now you just don't want it anymore? Maybe the solar company misled you. Or is your solar contract buried with hidden fees? Are you not saving the amount of money you thought you would on your energy costs? Don't worry. At the Solar Exit Hotline, we can help you cancel your solar contract, even if the panels are already installed. Our experienced legal team will review your contract and help you cancel it, possibly saving you thousands of dollars. You got to call right now for complete details. So listen, if you're not happy with your solar contract for any reason, we are here to help you cancel it. Call the Solar Exit Hotline now for immediate options to help you exit your solar contract. This call is 100% free.
Call 877-406-5860. That's 877-406-5860. Call 877-406-5860. That's 877-406-5860. Call us right now.
You know, there used to be, I don't know, corruption. You at least would hide it a little, or I don't know. You know, this is just why not just hand a velvet bag full of diamonds to a senator just right in a restaurant? I mean, why not? It is. This or hand an airplane, a giant 747 to the president. Okay. Anyway, Thomas Jefferson, Tommy to his friends. You might remember him, a tall fellow, wrote some stuff, complicated legacy, played the violin, wrote some stuff. We won't get into it. But Tommy Jefferson warned in 1777 that a military draft would be the most unpopular and impracticable, I think that was the word he used, impracticable thing that could be attempted. He said the colonists considered conscription, and I love this phrase, the last of all oppressions. Because what did the king do? You were property of the crown, and they just scooped you up and sent you off somewhere to go fight the king's war, conquesting. It was the last of all oppressions. In fact, the Royal Navy's habit of press-ganging American sailors was so enraging, it made it into the Declaration of Independence itself. One of the actual 27 grievances against King George III that justified the whole revolution. The founding document of the country that you and I are currently living in contains a specific complaint about forced military service. It's right there. You can look it up. It's not in the fine print. And here comes Palantir in the year of our Lord 2026 going, you know what, Jefferson, you big baby, we've thought about it. And we think universal national service is actually a great idea. Everyone should share in the risk. And then they go back to not sharing in the tax burden. There's a word for this. Several words, actually. Most of them aren't suitable for public radio before 10 p.m. What could possibly go wrong? I'm asking you. Let's think about this carefully. You've got a company whose revenue is more than half dependent on government contracts, i.e., taxpayer money. Yeah, that's you, Mildred. Advocating for the expansion of the military's manpower precisely at the moment its own AI targeting products need more wars to justify their Wall Street existence. Okay, I waited a couple of beats so you could soak it up. So you've got automatic draft registration about to sweep up every 18 to 26-year-old male in the country like a Roomba of civic obligation, right as we're in week 7 of a shooting war in Iran, and the Strait of Hormuz is reportedly looking like a combat zone. Wasn't a couple of weeks ago, is now. You've got a CEO who went on an earnings call and described killing people as a mission statement, and who now wants your son in uniform, your tax dollars funding the operation, and Palantir's algorithm deciding who's a target. And Palantir, for its part, didn't respond to Fortune magazine's request for comment. Of course they didn't. What are they going to say? Yes, we'd like your children, and no, we're not paying for them. And also, our software may or may not be involved in deciding who gets blown up. And we've written a book about it that you can purchase on Amazon. They don't respond to comment requests. They issue manifestos. You see, there's a difference. And that difference is what happens when you've got 10 billion in army contracts and 0 federal taxes and a guy with a ponytail who's read too much Carl Schmitt and not enough Thoreau. Carl Schmitt was that famous World War II lawyer, German lawyer, who made everything legal. Thoreau didn't. Sat around Walden Pond, was the inventor of nonviolent resistance. I mean, who are his students? Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King, many of you. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, Cary, isn't there something slightly, faintly, almost imperceptibly hypocritical about Silicon Valley tech bros? The same guys who made their fortunes from open source code, from DARPA-funded internet infrastructure and publicly subsidized university research, now talking about a moral debt owed by Silicon Valley to the military. Yes, that's what they're saying. Silicon Valley, we have a moral debt to the military. So yes, there is. Karp even put that in the manifesto. He literally acknowledged that Silicon Valley owes a moral debt, and therefore we should remilitarize, and they will help. They're going to pay off that debt. He self-owns in the document that also which is also the sales pitch for this. It's like a tobacco company publishing a pamphlet titled, "Yes, we've been killing you. Here's how to buy more cigarettes." The audacity is so total, so complete, so crystalline in its perfection that it wraps around and becomes its own kind of genius. The French have a word for something so ugly, it becomes beautiful. The draft, we're going to jump to the phones in just a second. There were people hanging online. I apologize. I'm just wrapping it up, but my brain is just cooking right here. The draft, for those of you who came of age in a more peaceful era, was actually last used on December 7th, 1972. Yeah, that was the previous century in Vietnam. It ended because the American public made it extremely clear through protest, through civil disobedience, through the sustained and righteous fury of a generation that didn't want to die in a jungle for reasons nobody could quite explain, that the whole business was, as Tommy Jefferson put it, the last of all oppressions. And that was 54 years ago. And now in the age of AI, targeting systems, and trillion-dollar surveillance contracts, and wars that start trending on social media before Congress has finished reading the authorization, a $350 billion defense tech company that pays no federal taxes would like to revisit the question. Written a book about it, posted 22 bullet points on X, formerly Twitter. What could possibly go wrong? So pick up the phone, because here's where I stop being snide for about 45 seconds. And I need you to stay with me, because this is the part that actually matters. If you've worn the uniform, any branch, any era, any war we shouldn't have fought, or any war we probably should have ended sooner, I want to hear from you. Not because I want to put you on display like some kind of patriotic prop. No, not so that I can thank you for your service in that weird, guilty drive-through window way that means absolutely nothing and costs even less. I want to hear from you because you know things the rest of us don't. You know what it smells like when the rhetoric stops being rhetoric. And I'm going to jump to the YouTube comments in a second. It's just, they're tiny. I have to blow up the screen a little bit. You know the difference between a manifesto written by a man with a ponytail and a philosophy degree and what actually happens to a human body when Palantir's AI, artificial intelligence, decides it's a target. A body is a target. You've seen the machine from the inside. You know which gears grind people up and which ones the contractors never have to touch. And if you got drafted, Vietnam, Korea, doesn't matter. I especially want to hear your voice on the files today, because right now there are 18-year-old kids in this country, some streaming, some listening on the stream, who don't even know what that word means yet. Draft. They think it's a beer or a fantasy football thing, a draft. They don't know about the lottery. They don't know about the number. They don't know what it's like to open a letter and have the government tell you, not ask you, tell you that your body now belongs to a foreign policy decision you had absolutely no vote on, cooked up by people who will never, ever be in the same zip code as the incoming fire. Tell them, tell us, because Alex Karp isn't going to tell them. Alex Karp's going to sell the targeting software and collect the contract and write the next chapter of his book from somewhere very comfortable and very safe. And if you've got a kid who's 18 or 19, 22, whatever years old right now, a son, a nephew, a neighbor's boy who just graduated and is trying to figure out what comes next, if you're sitting there watching the Selective Service build its automatic registration database right now as we speak, while we spent many weeks in a shooting war in Iran, and something in your gut is doing that thing that guts do when history starts to rhyme, I want you to call in. 818-985-5735, 818-985-KPFK, or text me at your Harrison text line, 310-737-TALK, 310-737-TALK. Tell me what that feels like. Tell me what you're telling your kid. Tell me if you're telling them anything at all, or if you're just hoping this all just somehow blows over before December 18th, which is the date, mark it, when automatic draft registration becomes the law of the land. Because here's what this show is at its core. It's not me. It's just the loud one with the microphone and too much caffeine and a bug up my cloaca maximus about people who profit from other people's wars. This show is you. It's your experience, your outrage, your institutional memory of every time we've been here before and pretend we hadn't. It's your story that cuts through all the corporate manifestos and the 22-point X points posts and the earnings call euphemisms for we kill people and it's going great revenue, up 70% at this point. Woohoo! Woo! Call in, 818-985-KPFK, 818-985-5735. Text me at your Harrison text line, 310-737-TALK. And I'm trying to read, there's like a million YouTube comments. Live streaming right now on YouTube. Simply Google Cary Harrison YouTube or Cary Harrison Substack, and you will be able to see some of these comments come up. But I can't read them because they're tight. Here's one. Let me try to read this. Beautiful poetry, Cary. We loved you on QVC. Now is better because you're talking out about Ellison billionaires, full loops. I'm so sorry. It's like tiny. It's my fault. I've got like 40 computer screens here. But thank you. Big, fat, juicy, moist regards back at you for sending me that and the many others that are coming in, along with the text or whatever. Let's go to Stan. Stan, you're on the Cary Harrison Files. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and apologize for the background noise. I'm on the bus, but this was so important to me because I was drafted in 1964, spent 4 years to 1969 in the military. And the thing is, of two things that happened in Nixon's administration, the one is the abolishment of the draft, when I found out Johnson lied about Vietnam, I just have been sick ever since. And I'm telling you, it hurts. It hurts to have been a part of that. The other thing is that something else I participated in, a woman couldn't have credit in those days. And so I was with a woman who, she used my name and she was able to get all her credit lines. She's a multimillionaire today. She has property, and it's really been, those are two things that Nixon did that are really great. And I thank you for having me on. I apologize again for the background noise. And that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, my friend, have a great bus ride. You're probably the only one I'll ever talk to that uses public transportation. We all should be using it. You know, if we did, it would be really, really, really nice if we all did. It really, really would. But we all prefer not to. And we should rethink that because, I mean, I know it's a great joy to drive at a 10-lane freeway at 2 miles an hour in a Porsche and get all the way up to 4 or 5 miles per hour. Wow. And all those people looking at you going, he is somebody, even though you will never meet them and never see them again. Or you can ride public transportation and actually maybe read a book or, okay, enough of that. We've got about 5 more minutes. We're going to jump next to Eric from LA. You're on the Cary Harrison Files. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I just wanted to say, first of all, when we get to the point of the draft, we know that we are in some serious straits. I traveled across the United States about 17 times over the last 4 years, and they have been widening the highways all across America, 40, 80, 20, 10. And those interstates are being widened, and they're being widened for all types of reasons. But the draft is kind of scary because I studied the rise and fall of the Third Reich more than once. Mm-hmm. I'm an African American. Yesterday, I painted a picture of Donald Trump, and I went to one of the richest areas in California, and within 1 hour, I sold it for $1,000. So people looked at the picture. Some of them thought it was against him. Some of them thought it was for him, but I'm an artist, so I was neutral. So we're in some very serious straits right now. And my grandfather was at Pearl Harbor when the Japanese attacked that area, and he ended up coming home. He was drafted as well, but he ended up coming home as a severe alcoholic. And from the 1950s all the way up to today, my family has still been affected by that.
Yeah, I completely get it. I'm thank you for giving us a call. Thank you for eyewitnessing that and reminding us of yet another angle, as artists so excellently do. I appreciate it, Eric, and hope to hear your voice again, my friend. My grandfather wrote, and I have them, from 1917. They're called Letters from the Front. And he was in World War I fighting the Germans in the trenches of France. And I just got them, and I'm going to turn them into a book. My other book that I just finished, Almost Dead, about an interview I did with a guy that I was going to put on the radio, but he announced during the interview he was going to be dead in 2 weeks, 3 days at 1:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. Yes. So I turned it into a book. He was brilliant, a psychotherapist who had come up with his own exit plan. So I did a book about it. It's like my little opus magnus. But I'm going to do more of these things because these are stories that need to get out what it's really like, what things are really like, and options that we have. I think do we have time for one more? Let me just read a couple of comments here. Santa Barbara says they're going to use the draft to target and eliminate dissidents. Well, sure, that's probably one of the positive side effects, but you need millions of live bodies to send out and stir up stuff. Every one of them is surveillable. And you know, I think we forget about mid-cap investments here. This is the stock market show today, folks. But every soldier, I mean, have you seen how they dress now? If you watch Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever and watch any of these, recreated military shows, they have more stuff on them, helmets. They're like the Borg from Star Trek, special goggles and lenses, Bluetooth things that speak to this, transmitters, cameras. Then there's the uniforms, the Kevlar vests, the socks, the boots, the boop, boop, boop. Every one of those, somebody is going to be manufacturing. Who knew? And I'll bet you Mr. Musk has companies that make all of that stuff. Mr. Karp not only makes the software, but makes the uniforms, makes the badges, makes the little plastic badges with the QR codes in the back, the RFID chips. The satellites are monitored by Mr. Musk. I mean, you kind of see where all this is going. If you have millions of people, you suddenly have millions of customers. Imagine if you had an ice cream stand in LA and the LA City Council passed an ordinance, blaming it on COVID or something so they could get away with it, that every single person in LA, so that's like 14 million of us in the DMA, was required by law to buy an ice cream once a week from that stand just to mitigate the effects of fill in the blank problem. And you owned that concession where you had that ice cream stand and 14 million people had to come through once a week. Wow. That's what this is. 380 million people, millions of overnight customers, millions of overnight customers, each customer requiring probably 30 or 40 small pieces, which would be sold at military rates. So, remember the $8 flashlight, $50 toothbrushes, all of those would need, plus backups. Then they sleep in cots, they eat food, there's light bulbs, electricity, there's vodka in the officers club, there's this, there's that, there's tires on the airplanes, brand new battleships we just heard about the other day. Well, we actually heard about it a year ago. It goes on and on and on, plus the $1.5 trillion increase in the military budget because war is peace. And there's your Orwellian moment. Okay, I love you. I really appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate the sacrifice we all make and you're handing me your soft, little malleable brain as you do, and I hand you mine. And I'm vulnerable as hell when I'm here. I am. I mean, thank God. I mean, I get the feedback. It's all really great, I have to say, but it's scary saying this stuff. And it's scary for you to jump on the phone and say your stuff. But this is what we must do to have a community and remember that we are better than what we are told we are. Cary Harrison with you. This is the Cary Harrison Files. Don't forget to get our newsletter at caryharrison.com, Cary. There you're going to get an entire transcript of this entire broadcast. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter. And I look forward to seeing you. By the way, thank you, Renee, our directress. Thank you, Will, in the control room of KPFK. I look forward to seeing you all next week at this time.
This pussy grabs back. The Cary Harrison Files. CaryHarrison.com.
How'd it happen?
She showed up dead on arrival.
This never gets easier.
It does when you call CarShield before your car breaks down. Look at these prices. The camshaft, transmission, engine.
Don't people know? A plan through CarShield could protect up to 5,000 parts and systems.
You hate to see it.
An out-of-warranty car is going to break down eventually.
Right, which is why they need a plan through CarShield.
Best of all, you'll get access to CarShield's concierge service, who can even help you find a mechanic near you.
They're notifying the family.
Poor guy. He doesn't even know what's coming.
Another victim of senselessly expensive repair bills. Can't save them all.
But we can keep trying. Didn't have to end this way. If he'd have just called CarShield before his car broke down.
Exactly.
CarShield has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and was voted America's most trusted auto protection company. It's time to call CarShield now. Call 800-786-8390. 800-786-8390. Call 800-786-8390.
Almost Dead, a true story.
I thought we could open with something really powerful like, I'm going to be dead in 3.5 weeks.
Not metaphor, not a prognosis, an appointment. Psychotherapist Derek Scott invited LA radio host Cary Harrison to ask him anything. With 3 weeks left, knowing the exact hour and date of his death, Derek offered everything. Love, grief, fear, humor, spirituality. Candid, unguarded, unexpectedly funny. A scheduled death. Time, date, location. Almost Dead. A final conversation before the author's death. 5 stars on Amazon. The true story that couldn't be broadcast. Available now on Amazon. Almost Dead by Cary Harrison.